Hello everybody, Steve here from Steve's Garage. Good to see everybody. It's been a little while. I've been busy doing other things, but I actually was working on the car. Sometimes I just get involved. I'm like, I should be making a video of this, and I just go and go, and all of a sudden, like, I snap out of it, like, holy shit, it's 3 hours later, and I should have made a video of all that, but I've come a long way, and we're going to review it in a minute. Old Earl doesn't have a sign on today, so I don't know what we're going to do. All we're going to do today is we're going to have a little discussion about everything that's going on. I'm not going to do any physical work in front of you, but I want to talk about where we're going and about some of the parts we're using and some of the history about the old car. Because every car that you go to these old car shows and you see all these guys and you're like, hey, nice car, hey, nice car, hey, nice car. But when you talk to these guys and you say, where'd this car come from? I have to unplug my air, it was making a lot of noise. And you say, where'd this car come from? They can tell you a story about each and every car. Like, you know, who they bought it from. Some of them know, like, this car was owned by X family, then this family, then this family, and I'm the fourth owner, and it may be 100 years old. And so we're going to talk about some of these parts I'm using, and where we're going, what direction we're heading in, and what the next step is. Because we've taken the body off, and I took the engine out today, and I got my hydraulic brakes on the front end. I've already taken the front end off. So let's talk about a few things. So I'm gonna come behind the camera and walk you around. And just so you know, it's a beautiful day. Here we are. Look at this day today. Today is March 5th or 6th, somewhere in there. And it's absolutely gorgeous out. So, here's the engine. I have a video that shows the compression test I did. And I tested all 4 cylinders. And we had about 50 pounds when the engine was ice cold. I didn't run it at all. So it was ice cold and each cylinder showed 50 pounds of pressure. So that's all good news. So when it heats up, it'll have a little more pressure and we'll be in good shape. So this engine, I'm thinking at this point, I'm not going to dig too far into. If it has good pressure, that means the valves are seating good, and you know, the rings are good. So I just don't know how far I'm going to go yet. I may wind up pulling the head just to see what the you know, the pistons look like, and what the sides of the head or the body where the pistons run in up and down the cylinders look like, and that. So other than that, we're going to clean it all up. I do have a new water pump coming because I did put the repair in this water pump. It has a little lead, it's like a little lead rope almost that you bolt in. There's other parts in here, but like it's $100 to buy the parts to rebuild it, and it's $160 to buy a brand new leakless water pump, hopefully leakless. So I'm just going for brand new, and you know, got to get the distributor cap set up for it, and doesn't need much. The carburetor ran good, so I'm going to run with that. I may rebuild that, but we'll see how it goes. Again, it's going to be a little trial and error on the engine. I don't want to go too crazy if I don't have to. I took the motor off the body, and there's the transmission, and a clutch plate is only about $90. But when I took this clutch plate off, which is right here, and this is the spring plate here. So these springs, that's where your throwout bearing goes, and when you push on the clutch, it pushes these springs down, releases the big piece of steel that's on the opposite side, right here, and then this is the asbestos shoe that goes in between, and you know, so you're not metal on metal. So if you look at this, you can actually see the writing on the clutch plate itself, and you know, it's got tons of wear still on it. So I've got to find it, and even on the back of it, you look, there's writing on it too. So it hasn't worn barely anything. In fact, right there, it's not even scuffed yet. So I'm thinking that this might have been brand new and replaced. I mean, it obviously had to be replaced because, you know, it's not going to be, actually it says made in USA 1942. So this clutch was put in 1942, has barely any use on it. So again, this engine I think was either rebuilt or definitely had work done on it. So, well, I have no idea. I have no idea what was done, and but I think it's all good. So, you're saying, where's the wheel, Steve? Where's your front axle? Well, let me tell you, it's over here. So here's the front axle. Now, if you look at this here, I don't know if that sun's helping us or hurting us, but right there is the front spindle that my hydraulic brakes are on, and this is the axle that was on the car. It's upside down, and if you're looking at it, this is how it would be here. So this is the front axle with the hydraulic brakes on it. Now, when you look at the old, I had an old axle in here that was a 39, and these are the spindles that came off of this original car. So these are the 29 spindles. And as you can see, these would go, you know, right here. But I replaced these 39s. And good old Henry Ford. So here's an axle that's 10 years older than these. These are 1939 spindles. These are 29 spindles. 10 years later, these 39s went on exactly fit perfectly to the old Henry Ford milling. So 10 years later, these parts are interchangeable. So that's just awesome. So this is the old Model A parts. These are the mechanical brakes, which we are not using. And now we're going to have hydraulics. So let's get to, got to wipe my hands off because they're always looking like this. So the back end of this car has a 1939 rear end. Now, when I got this 39 rear end, I got a 39 front axle with it, and that's where these hubs come from. Now, this front end and rear end I got from a guy who told me that this, in 1939, they had not in 39, but in the 70s, they built a gentleman built a car for his wife, a 1939 sedan of some sort or whatever. And it turns out the wife, you know, she liked the car, but she never used it. So the husband says, you know what? I'm going to build that car into a race car. So he took like all modern parts, like Mustang parts and all this front end, rear end, or Camaro. I don't know exactly what he used, but he got rid of the 39 rear end and front end, and he got rid of the engine, which was a 59 AB, and he put those in a barn for years. And so years and years later, here I come along, and I get those parts, and that's what these front drums and that rear axle is off of that 39 that this guy built for his wife. So when I took this thing apart, the shoes in here, in this 1939 front hub, the brake shoes are brand new. The calipers, brand new. So everything this car was built and just never used. You know what I mean? So everything in here is brand new. It's just all rusted up, you know, the 60s. So, I mean, it's 60 years later, basically, and here I am. So it's all good news for me, and I couldn't be more appreciative, but just showing you. So at this point with this, we're going to be boxing in this rear end because this is a 29 frame and this is a 29 frame, but this is off a AA truck. That's why it's got all that beefiness. It's 6 inches wide. And then this is off a Model A, which is like, you know, 4.5 inches wide down to nothing. So I'm going to box things in, sturdy this thing up a little bit more. And I mean, it's fine the way it is because the body I'm putting on it really doesn't weigh much of anything. So it'll all be good. So I'm going to be looking for other things like a rear spring and a rear stabilizer bar and, you know, just a bunch of odds and end things to make this thing work. So that's where we're at now. This video was just about kind of catching up with everybody. So I wanted to give you a little education on what we're doing here. So at this point, the frame needs all the work of boxing in, welding, filling in old holes that weren't, you know, that we're not using. I've got to take the steering wheel off and the steering mechanism at the bottom. That has 3 different ways of adjusting it, up, down, in, out, to get all those gears to mesh well. If they don't, I can buy a rebuild kit for that also. I've got the brakes to put on, and we'll go through all that. And then the motor, of course, to work with. So for right now, this was just a check-in to see how everybody's doing and show you what we're doing here. Show you what Earl's doing. Earl, are you with us? Nothing? Yeah, that old Earl's, he's quiet. He's sneaky, though. So anyway, beautiful day here in Hamden. Please like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Ring my bell. And come on back. We're going to get this thing built. It's getting, you know, the days are getting nicer. We're going to be out in our hot rods. We still have some snow banks and stuff, but can't wait to show you what's going on this summer all around here and all that. So until next time, be good to your friends. Drive safe. Wear a seatbelt. Use your blinkers. Don't be like the rest of them out there. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.